So you want to be a triathlete. Hal Morris dips his toes in the water to become a half Ironman this fall. Today on Do Hard Things Today podcast. Back on the Do Hard Things Today podcast. Kevin Harrison here with Hal Morris.
Hey, everybody.
And today we are going to interview our very own Hal Morris. As you know, y'all have followed Hal's fitness journey, his health journey. He got some pretty well, I'll let him give the Cliff Notes version of it in a second. But as a reminder, you can find us all over the place. Hal, those places, Spotify.
Yeah, if you might be listening on iTunes, but also you can listen on Spotify, Google Play Music, iHeartRadio now, and Alexa. And let's see, I said Google Play. So all the pod outlets we're on.
Sweet. Remember our Facebook groups, Do Hard Things Today, the fitness performance page, and then we've got it's actually a group. We've got the Do Hard Things Today Facebook page. You can like that page. We kind of throw out some motivational stuff there, but we got the groups where we got different challenges, those kind of things going on. We got the Hub City Runners group. You can search those up on Facebook and join those and just be a part of the ever-growing community of people doing hard things daily. And one of those people that's doing hard things daily is Hal Morris. And Hal, give us a Cliff Notes version of your fitness journey before we jump into what you're about to do.
Well, Cliff Notes is I was in bad shape health-wise. All my numbers were all messed up. Cholesterol, blood pressure was creeping up over time. Just overweight, couldn't move, not totally physically, but just from spending too much time behind a desk for too long. Yeah, just out of shape.
Yep, out of shape. So, then he decides to. But you had a doctor's visit.
Had a doctor's visit, and he said he gave me a year to get fit or lose weight, or else I was going to have to go on medicine, which I didn't want to do because I'm a pilot, and FAA frowns on most any medication that pilots take. So I didn't want to go down that road. So the physical was like in November, December. So the next May, which would have been May of 2018, I made up my mind to change my lifestyle and started then. And by the next physical in November, I had lost 40, 50 pounds and got all my numbers where he wanted them. And they've just been getting better ever since.
Sweet. And Hal became a cyclist. And cycling's kind of what he kind of the route he went, trained and conquered the assault on Mount Mitchell. That's a local big. How many feet climbing is that?
10,000 feet, 102 miles in one day.
102 miles. It's a pretty big accomplishment in the cycling world. And so he's always kind of remained that cyclist. And we've got a lot of people associated with the Do Hard Things Today group. A lot of runners, a lot of cyclists. Also got a pretty big triathlon community. And all of a sudden Hal decides, and I don't even remember when it was that you first mentioned it, but Hal mentioned, I think I'm going to do half Ironman.
Yeah.
And just kind of decided that. So let's just start there. What made you want to? And let me explain what half Ironman. That is it's a triathlon, and it is you swim 1.2 miles, then you bike 56 miles, then you run a half marathon, 13 miles, all right after each other. So it is a long day, a tough day, and a pretty big thing to have on your training list. So why half Ironman?
Well, we'll back up a little bit to last year, 2019, and as you said, I started out cycling. My wife Jill found a used bike on Facebook Marketplace and bought it and just took off on it. Got addicted to cycling. got hooked up with the Freewheelers, the local cycling club here in Spartanburg, and started riding group rides and just went nuts with the bike. Trained and accomplished the assault on Mount Mitchell, like you said, 102 miles. That was May 18th of 2019. So accomplished that. Throughout the year, just kept building my mileage and accomplished several 100-mile rides. And then last October, we rode with a group down to Sumter, South Carolina, from Spartanburg, which is a distance of 220 miles in one day. So accomplished that. So I had a lot of accomplishments in a short period of time doing the bicycle. So had went down last September and watched several friends. I think you'd done one the year before, 2018, and watched my wife, Jill. She'd accomplished a couple half Ironmans in Augusta, and Kevin, and then several friends were in it last year. So that kind of got the itch going, and being a good part of the race is the bike part, so that appealed to me. So and then of course Jill owns the Hub C Runner, so running is was part of it too. So I got to thinking, if I can learn how to swim, I can do this.
Yeah.
So why not?
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that training then. Of it's when you're training for when people ask about the real differences in the different disciplines. When you're training for a marathon, we know what you got to do. You got to log a lot of miles. I mean, strength and core training goes along with everything, but really you got to go out and you just got to pound the pavement. You got to put in more miles and build your endurance. Your speed will come. Those kind of things. Cycling, kind of the same thing.
Same way.
Yeah. You just put in the miles. That when you put your toes in triathlon, usually with any triathlete, you'll find they're really strong in one thing.
Mm-hmm.
They've either got a really strong running base or a really strong cycling base.
Mm-hmm.
They're usually one of those two things.
Mm-hmm.
It's very rare the person that shows up that has a very strong swimming base.
Yeah.
Just the numbers.
They may have been a collegiate swimmer.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, those are
rare.
1 in 200.
Mm-hmm.
So when you jump into the triathlon world, now for most people, the thing that scares them the most is the swim. Okay, I can swim when I go to the lake. I can swim around, or when I'm, have to swim back to the ski boat or something like that.
Yeah.
I can do that. But to get in a pool and swim laps, and you start talking about distances of, 1.2 miles.
Mm-hmm.
That's a long way. I mean,
2,112 yards.
Yeah. Yeah. Explain to people how many times, because I know you're kind of nerdy on stuff on these numbers things.
Uh-oh.
How many times is that back and forth in the pool?
Oh, well, you divide that by 25 meters.
Yeah.
In our Y pool, or if swimming long ways is 50 meters. So
yeah, it's about 40.
It's quite, yeah.
Yeah. You go down and you swim down and back about 40 times.
40 times.
Yeah. Roughly 40 times.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the distance of this swim. The other thing that scares people a lot of times, and you're taking on both of these at one time, is swimming in the open water.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a lot of smaller triathlons will be pool swims.
Right.
But this one's in
Savannah River.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Savannah River. You get in the river and you swim. And there's stuff in the river. I mean, it's
currents and
there's all I mean, it's, and if you're like me, I have I'm just really tall and have really long arms. When I swim, like in river swims and stuff, and I'm swimming, extending back, I'll come under, there'll be stuff in my hands from down near the bottom of because you get over towards the bank, it's not really deep over there. So a lot of things go into the fears people have about these things. So you generally have one thing you're really good at, and obviously your base is going to be cycling.
Mm-hmm.
And so you go about this so tell tell the folks at home how you went about determining your training plan and kind of deciding, okay, what am I, because the natural tendency for people is to focus on what they're really good at because that's what's more fun for them, and not working on these things that are harder. Like, I always struggle with my swim. If I'm going to miss a workout during the week, it's going to be a swim workout because I hate swimming. No, I mean, it's just not. I don't enjoy it. I'm not good at it, and I know I've got to do it to be able to do these longer triathlons, but I just don't. I would much rather go for a run or jump on my bike or jump on the trainer. That's just what I'd rather do. So how'd you go about developing your training plan? And let's talk about the very beginnings of that.
Okay, so what I did, in order to do this, before I signed up for anything, half Ironman or even the sprint triathlons, I wanted to see if I could have even a shot at swimming, because I'm obviously hadn't been comfortable in the water in the past. We weren't a lake family where we hung out on the water on the weekend, so I just wanted to find out first if I could actually do the swim. So I contacted a coach who gave me a few lessons on the swim, and I wanted to know the technique, of course. And so I took two or three lessons with him before things got shut down with the coronavirus, and so that was in January. So I was swimming. I had lessons with him, and then I was swimming 3 to 4 times a week, and going really well. I felt learning the technique, which the swim's a lot of technique to learn. I liken it to a golf swing, more or less.
And let me stop you right there, Hal. Then we're going to jump right back into your story, because I think what you said is crucial. Because, and I left it out a second ago when I was talking about biking and running. If you want to become a better runner, you pound the pavement. You're going to run more. Run more, and you're going to get faster. You're going to get stronger. You want to become a better cyclist? Cycle more. You're going to get stronger. You're going to be a better cyclist. A beginner swimmer, this is what generally happens with them, and they eventually do what you did. But you probably you're more, you think things out a little bit more than most people that jump into these things do. Most people say, okay, I'm a pretty good runner, decent cyclist, or I'm a really good cyclist, decent runner. All right, I'm going to go to the pool and start swimming. They get in the pool, they take off swimming, and they cannot get across the pool one time, and they feel like they're going to drown.
Yeah.
And so I say, all right, well, I'm going to make my way to the other side of the pool, and then I'm just going to swim another one. And if I just swim long enough, and if I just keep coming to the pool and just swim long enough, I'll eventually get better. That's not how it happens.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen. What Hal did is exactly what you need to do. If you are thinking about becoming a triathlete and you're probably good at one of those other things, invest the resources to get a couple of lessons. Get a professional, get a coach to look at your form, give you a good coach can give you 2 or 3 tips that will make your life 1,000 times. I've never heard it equated to a golf swing, but that's a good.
It's a lot like a golf swing
equation to it. So do what Hal did on that part, and get a coach to look at your lesson. If you go to the Y, you go to any pool, just ask the person up front, hey, I'd like to have a couple of swim lessons, and just tell them I'm training for a triathlon. I just need somebody to give me a couple of tips. They'll know somebody.
Yeah, the first strokes I made were under the coach's eye.
Yeah,
and they were terrible.
Yeah,
I mean, it wasn't even swimming; it was thrashing at the water.
Yep.
So,
right,
I started from square one on the swimming. So, so that was started that in January, and then he had me where I could go out and swim. So I was swimming 3 or 4 times a week up until mid-March when the YMCA shut down. So so then didn't get started back in swimming till, what was it, May 18th or so, when the restrictions were lifted on the Y. So since then, I've had to relearn a little bit, and just now getting comfortable. We're 1st of July, so just getting comfortable really back again in the swim. So but it has been a struggle, and not only I took the lessons, but I've been doing watching a lot of YouTube resources on the technique and stuff, taking videos of myself, comparing them to what I see on the YouTube, and probably really should have gone back to the coach at this point, and probably will here shortly, just to fine tune things as we go forward. So yeah, the swim has been a challenge, just learning how to do that. So
what kind of distances are you putting in right now in your swim training? Because your race is end of September, so so you're 2.5 months out.
As far as lengths go at a time, I'll warm up. I'll do 25s and rest, a few 25s, one length and rest, and then I'll do after I get warmed up, do some 50s and rest, and then really I've really gone up to 75, 3 lengths and rest. So, but I'll do like 3 75s and rest. So, total wise over the whole session, I've built up to 1,000, 1,500. I think I did 1,600 yards. This week,
and that's smart too, because another thing that happened, that when you get tired in the pool, and you will get tired, because the hardest thing about swimming is getting your breathing right, your rhythm right. You'll be in the pool swimming, and you don't want to sit in a swim lap, but when you're not exhaling properly and not taking in, your lungs start to fill up. Yeah,
it's not natural for us to swim. It's a good video that I've watched. It's just not.
It's not natural to swim, and so. But what happens is when you get tired, especially as a beginner, when you get tired, it's better to just stop at the wall, rest, get your breath back right, and then do it. It's much better to do 20 50s right and rest in between them than it is to go out there and try to swim 4 250s.
Yeah.
And the last half of all of them are terrible.
I do a lot of drills. Different ones I've seen, some that the coach gave me, and then others that I've picked up on that have really helped. So,
So how about your run training? I know you had a 11-mile run. That's your longest run?
That's my longest run ever. Sad to say, but being associated with all the runners around here.
Yeah.
But so the run, my plan was. I was going to do Mount Mitchell, backing up to cycling. I was going to do Mount Mitchell on May 18th. So I was training for it. I was going to do the swim and the cycling up until Mount Mitchell.
Yeah.
I was doing swimming and cycling, and then I was going to add the run back in after that, because I didn't want to get hurt running. Didn't want to hurt myself running before Mount Mitchell. So when Mount Mitchell got canceled, then I upped my running. And I kind of go into how I did that, and then I kept my swimming. Well, it got shut down, but since then I've kept it 3 to 4 times a week. But running, what I've done, I've started increasing my distance and my intervals, my run walk intervals every week. So I've been upping and I really don't go for right or wrong. I've been running for time.
Yeah.
Like I start out running 45 minutes. The next week I'll run 50 minutes. The next week I'll run an hour.
Yeah.
And then I'll back down to 45 minutes, but I'll do 4 to 1 intervals.
Yeah.
And then build back up. And so I've been adding time, and I've been adding the longer runs versus the walk. All at zone 2, by the way.
Yep.
Tried very disciplined to run zone 2, and then I will sprinkle in a little track work. I've been doing that the past 2 or 3 weeks on some hard intervals on the track, and I'll sprinkle in some hill repeats too, to kind of start building the speed up, because my speed, I'm 54 years old. My speed, I want to have a decent speed, but I don't want to. I know I'm not going to be a 8 or 9 minute person.
Yeah.
I'm just not.
Yeah. Well, that's me.
So I'm just not going to be 8 or 9 pace person. But 10, 11, I think I'm going to be happy with.
Yep.
So
yeah. So what's been your biggest challenge so far? Obviously swim is a challenge, but
yeah.
what's your biggest challenge so far in this new venture you're taking on?
The shutting down the shutting down of the YMCA and not being able to swim, I think, has set me back on swim definitely. So that's been a big challenge. Other than that, I've pretty much stayed on my schedule as I laid out. I've had to adapt my schedule, of course, as we all have, due to the circumstances. But yeah, being shut down for that period of time was definitely has been a challenge and something hopefully I'm overcoming here.
Yeah, it is, and especially with the swimming. The most I had a guy tell me one time, and I think it's the guy that was helping you with swimming. He said it's better. He said if you can get in the pool 5 times a week for 20 minutes, he said as a beginner, it's better than going 2 times for being there for an hour
and doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just go if you just get in the pool, and even if you just go and you end up getting in 500 yards of just could be all 25s.
Yeah,
just doing them right.
And a lot of mines have been just 500 where I concentrate on technique. Yeah.
Because muscle memory plays into this with swimming on your form, and that's why I liked the equation of the golf swing. Because you think about when you're playing the best golf of your life. I bet you were playing a lot.
I was playing a lot.
You were playing a lot.
I was, yeah.
And then when you take 6 months off and you go back and you think, hey, man, I was killing it back, and then you show up, what happens?
You're
stab
your
wedge.
Yeah. Stab your wedge in the side of the green,
and it's because that muscle memory is gone, and so it's crucial. Can't emphasize enough how different swimming is from cycling and biking. From cycling and running. Cycling and running, yes, there's technique, yes, there's form, there's different things there. I'm not saying there's none of that, but at the end of the day, if you'll put in the miles in that, you're going to get stronger and faster. You just are. With swimming, you've got to stay consistent and getting to the pool, getting those swims in, doing those kind of things. So I think this is something you're in a situation that a lot of people are in right now. I'm actually signed up for that race too, the September one, the Augusta half Ironman. It's in Augusta, Georgia. But you're in the same position so many people listening and around the country in right now, that chances right now for that race are probably greater that it gets canceled than it happens. Just probably is. Don't like it. But it is what it is. Every race up to this point, other than a local 5K that I did this weekend, has been canceled. Lost all my races. How do you stay focused, motivated, and positive while we're dealing with the coronavirus and the reality that, okay, there's probably a good chance this doesn't happen?
The second part I kind of put out of my head. I just don't. It's there, and it probably is not going to happen, but I am training and focused like it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I just put the other out of my, it's there and it creeps in, but I don't try to think about it. I mentioned to people at work that, man, I'm doing all this training. And they ask me like every Monday morning, they say, what'd you do this weekend?
Yeah.
I say, well, I ran this many miles and I cycled 100 miles. And they're like, wow. And I said, it's probably, I jest, I say, it's probably all for nothing because this race is going to be canceled. And they say, no, keep in mind that, and they say, look what you're doing to your body, how you're being benefiting. All this is benefiting your health and your fitness. So, I look at that and I say, it's worth it.
Well, we said in the Dopey podcast this month that worst case scenario is the race gets canceled 2 weeks before the race is going to go off,
Mm-hmm.
and you're in the best shape of your life.
Right.
I mean, that's the worst case scenario,
Right.
because at the end of the day, it's really not about the medals. It's about the journey of getting there, and
Mm-hmm.
the discipline and all these things that you do. And gosh, we've said it a million times on this. Control what you can control,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yep.
there's no need worrying about it. Gosh, you get on these Facebook groups. Like if you're on a Facebook group of a race, every day there are multiple posts on the page of people saying, "What do you think the odds are it gets canceled? Do you think they're going to have it? Did you see these numbers? This race got canceled.
Oh yeah.
Numbers are going up.
If
I
this
guarantee
one's
you
going
they're
to get canceled,
Yeah.
this one's going to get canceled.
And it's just like nobody knows. I mean, nobody knows if it's going to happen or not. Control what you can control. All right. So I think you're successfully on this journey to taking on the Augusta. What are 5 things you'd say to aspiring triathletes who maybe are they're one of 2 things? Either they are, that kind of interests me, but I'm kind of afraid of it, or they've made the decision. All right, that's the next step for me. That's what I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
What are 5 things you'd say to them?
Okay, first thing is I'm gonna put an asterisk and explain on this one. The first thing I would say is commit. Sign up for a race, and I'm gonna put an asterisk and expand on this. Sign up for a race, and even if you hadn't paid the fee, because of the situation now, it's challenging now with especially Ironman, because if you sign up and other triathlons too, if you sign up and it's canceled, then more than likely you're going to be deferred till next year.
Yep.
So who knows? I'll be a year older next year, and we'll all be a year older next year. Who knows where we'll be? So we may not be able to have.
But how? Let me think about that for a second. Think about that for a second. Think about what happens if that happens. Here's what would happen. Let's play that out this year.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, that happened with I was signed up for Ironman Lake Placid end of July. That got canceled.
Mm-hmm.
It's shifted to where next year, guess what? I'm signed up for Ironman Lake Placid end of July.
Yeah.
Let's take September. Let's say middle of August, you get the email.
Mm-hmm.
It's the dreaded email, and it says, due to health, blah, 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 all the legal stuff.
Yeah.
In essence, not going to have the race. We're going to automatically defer you to next year.
Mm-hmm.
At that point in time, here, I said, worst case scenario, you're in the best shape of your life.
Mm-hmm.
But think about what else just happened. Now, you got, next September,
you got another target.
I got this target that I'm aiming at. Yeah. So it's, in essence, it almost extends your journey for another year of doing that.
So if you're committed, keep in mind you're going to be committed.
Yep.
So, but that will be the first thing, and then second thing is plan. Come up with your training plan, no matter if it's a coach, through an online coach, whether you come up with something yourself or from somebody else. Come up with a training plan that keeps your schedule in mind. Okay, keep your life schedule in mind. My particular situation, I train early, 5 a.m. I try to get an hour in I've got it laid out what I do at 5 a.m. Probably 4 mornings a week, and then I've got my evenings planned out, what I'm going to do during the week as far as my training. But it all revolves around my life schedule as well. So you got to plan your training around your life schedule. So along with that is be consistent, stick to your plan. But if you miss a training session, then modify if possible. We've talked about in the past in podcasts about falling off the wagon or missing training plans. What I try to do, if I miss a swim for whatever reason, I'll try to find a spot to put it back in during that week. I may have to do a different run on that particular day or move a run. So I've got flexibility in my schedule where I can stay consistent with what I'm trying to do. And I'm trying to do. I do have miles and goal miles and swim yards in mind, but my main goal is 8 to 10 hours a week of training, whether it be swim, bike, and run. And I'm trying to split. It's tough to split those hours into the three sports. So, but 8 to 10 hours. Now, if you're doing a full, I think it's about twice that.
Yeah.
So be prepared to do that if you're looking at a full, which is it's just beyond my thoughts right now. But
and Hal, what you said about the doing a schedule and the plan that's around your life.
mm-hmm.
I think that's another mistake that beginners make is they'll get a plan and they read the plan as the gospel.
Right.
Where they're, okay, it's got to be exactly like this. Or
mm-hmm.
they'll download something, or they'll go to, if you go to an online coach,
mm-hmm.
a lot of times that you'll get more general and then they'll take that and say, okay, I have got to do whatever I got to do to be able to do this.
Right.
Everybody's schedule's different.
Yeah.
For some people, 5 a.m. is the time.
Mm-hmm.
That is, if I don't get it done super early, it's not
mm-hmm.
going to happen.
Yeah.
For other people, they're extremely flexible.
Yeah.
I think it's very important to find something that really don't get pie in the sky stuff. If you've never gotten up in the morning at 5 o'clock in the morning, don't think all of a sudden, hey, I'm gonna start getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning every morning and doing my workouts.
Mm-hmm.
You're setting yourself up for failure doing that.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you may be an evening person.
Yeah.
To do it.
Yeah.
But I did back on the online training. I did a 14-day trial.
Yeah.
And went over the plans that I received on it, and there was just no way. What I'd come up with I felt was much more fit my lifestyle than what I'd looked at to purchase. So, which kind of gets into the next one is budget. These are expensive. They can get expensive. The race fees for half Ironman are expensive. The equipment can get expensive if you let it. But what I scribbled down was be realistic about what race you are doing and what you will need. If you're not going to tackle a half Ironman in triathlon, if you're going to do sprint triathlons, or maybe Olympic, you really don't need a triathlon bike, a time trial bike for 14, 15 miles. A road bike will be just fine. I bought a triathlon bike because half Ironman is going to be 56 miles, and I felt like I could make good time on a triathlon bike over that distance, but probably anything shorter, I probably would have stuck to a road bike on that. But it's like wetsuits going overboard. If you're just going to do one race and be done, don't be out buying a $700-800 wetsuit. Find a used one. I've got one borrowed right now. I've got a good friend that's going to let me borrow one. So,
because let me tell you, you can spend as much money as you want to spend.
Yes.
On any of the stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's more toys and things that you can buy, and when you start talking about bikes, even wetsuits, I mean, wetsuits get into the thousands of dollars. I mean, it's pretty insane.
So look at your budget, determine your strengths and race schedule, and plan your expenses. What I kind of said by that is if you can borrow until you need to buy, do that. If you got a friend that you can borrow stuff from, if they'll let you, and then when you get closer to race time, make the purchase with plenty of time to train. I wouldn't go out and buy something the week before and try to be ready in that, either a bicycle or a wetsuit. But it can get expensive. I mean, even the race fees are expensive. And then the last one I've got is be patient. Gains will come from training, especially I think for me in the run and the swim. I've had to be patient, especially on the swim. If things weren't shut down, like I said, I feel like I'm behind right now. But I'm in the past couple weeks. I've been patient. One night I came home from the Y, and I told told my wife, I said, you better make plans after the race because I'm probably going to drown in the Savannah River. And she said, no, you're not. So I've been more patient, and things have gotten better, and especially in the swim the past couple of weeks. But on the run, the Zone 2 training, I have tried to be very disciplined on Zone 2 training. I do better on Zone 2 solo. I was going to the group runs, and I just can't maintain Zone 2 trying to chase everybody. Being a guy, it's just too much ego to trying to keep up with everybody, stay in Zone 2. So I have to run solo to stay in Zone 2. So sorry, everybody, but that's why you haven't seen me at the group.
You slow down. You slow down to speed up.
Yep.
You slow down to
So I have seen gains from doing the Zone 2, especially in the long run I did this week. There was no drama, no pain or drama doing that distance. So it's going good. So just the last thing I had was be patient, and be patient about the races. They'll happen eventually. We'll get to race again one day.
Yeah, we will, man. There are some gold in what you said, and those highlight the 5 tips one more time, just to call them off.
Commit to a race, or commit to what you're going to do. A goal. Plan your training. You'll do life schedule in mind. Be consistent. Stick to your plan. But if you miss a training session, modify or if possible, don't go overboard with your budget. Keep that in mind, because you're only going to spend a lot of money and make your spouse mad on that. And then be patient. Your gains will come from consistent training over time.
That's gold. If you're thinking about doing a triathlon or thinking about possibly dipping your toes into that world, write those 5 things down, because that's pure solid gold, and that will get you to where you're in. No rocket science there, but they're common sense things that are well thought out, that will, if you follow those, it'll take you to where you're going to go. So, Hal, regardless of whether you actually jump in that river at the end of September or not,
we'll see.
You're going to be ready to.
Right.
And that's the thing. The only thing you can control is when you're standing at the starting line, or whenever you're sitting at your desk and you receive that email, that you can say, I've done everything on my end to be ready at this point in time. And, if races gets canceled, well, you're in the best shape of your life. You got a positive attitude, and then you look and say, okay, well, what's next? What's next on the –
I can swim a whole lot further than I could.
That's right.
Last January.
That's right. So well, good job, man. Proud of you, making a lot of progress. And so we look forward to the follow-up either the dreaded another race got canceled podcast.
At some point, we'll do a follow-up pod. We just don't know when.
Yeah, or the successful journey to Augusta podcast. So no matter which one it is, you'll be ready, and we'll be stronger for it. So
and hopefully both of us will.
Yeah.
We'll have to find somebody to interview both of us.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So for Hal Morris, our interviewee today is Kevin Harrison, reminding you, if you'll do the hard things today, tomorrow will take care of itself.